Hey everybody, JCB here at the Awesomist, and you're watching the Awesomist Travel Vlog. Well, that was perfect. Longtime viewers of this channel know that my wife and I are longtime Six Flags season pass holders. And now we had a Six Flags themed wedding with a roller coaster cake and the whole shebang. Well, way back in 2013 when we were just dating and we had just gotten our season passes, we discovered that your season pass actually grants you free admission to any Six Flags theme park in the continental United States, as well as one in Mexico and one in Canada. And we agreed that it would be cool that if we ever got married, if we went to a new Six Flags park for every wedding anniversary. A year before we got married, we tested the concept by visiting Six Flags over Texas and had a blast. Except it was Father's Day and the place was super packed. So packed that we only got on a few rides. Anyway, fast forward to last year, our 1-year wedding anniversary, where we started this new tradition by visiting Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. We spent 2 days in Vallejo, California checking out Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, and I made a travel vlog all about it. We also went to Disneyland and California Adventure and the Jelly Bean Factory. You can check all that out by clicking on the very first video in that series in the description down below. The plan has always been to start with the park closest to us, which was Discovery Kingdom, and then branch out from there, visiting the next closest park every year. But as you can see in Texas, there are 2 parks, Six Flags Over Texas and Six Flags Fiesta Texas. So instead of going to Texas 2 years in a row, and because we kind of already visited Six Flags Over Texas, we decided to do both Texas parks this year. And yes, that means next year we're heading to St. Louis, Missouri, or rather Eureka, Missouri. Don't ask. We started a trip at LAX, which I had not been to since I was a little kid.
Say hi, babe.
Hi, babe.
Every time. Every time.
After a little bit of waiting, we boarded our flight and arrived at DFW in Dallas-Fort Worth at about midnight.
I don't think it goes appreciated enough.
Me?
No, in just the world. People don't appreciate this type of stuff.
Like what part?
Flight. The whole thing.
After grabbing our bag, we went to catch the shuttle to the rental car place, got our rental car, and headed to the hotel. We reserved an economy class car, having no idea what they were actually going to give us, but since we didn't plan on doing a whole lot of driving, we didn't really care. The last time we did this in Texas, we ended up with a Toyota Prius. This time we got a Nissan Juke. It's like a tiny SUV. When my wife and I first saw this car, we started busting up laughing. It kind of looks like if Mini Cooper made an SUV. By the end of our trip though, we had kind of fallen in love with the little guy. It was a pretty decent little car, and we might actually buy one in the future. We then checked into our motel, the Ranger Inn, which is literally right across the street from Six Flags Over Texas. Not a bad view from the motel, right?
So we arrived in Arlington, Texas. This is night 1. My wife left her socks at home, so we decided to hit a 24-hour Walmart. And now we're at a Whataburger. And tomorrow morning for breakfast, we're going to have Waffle House.
Waffle House!
We're hitting all the W's.
The next morning we went over and got Waffle House and then headed to the park. We retook this same exact photo because we're weird like that. The walk from the motel to the park is pretty easy if you don't mind crossing the street illegally. Before long, we were going through the gates. Six Flags Over Texas is a little more complicated to navigate than Magic Mountain. It's still basically a circle, but there's a lot more paths that kind of cross each other and intersect, and there's a lot more alternative routes to different places, which can make for a kind of confusing experience that first day. It's laid out in different sections, each themed after one of the 6 nations to own Texas at various times, which is where Six Flags got its name. For anyone who doesn't already know, Six Flags Over Texas was the very first Six Flags park to ever be built, and its name references the flags of the US, Mexico, Spain, France, the Confederate States of America, and the Republic of Texas.
So as of this recording, they're still finishing the Justice League ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain, but here in Texas, I've actually had it for a little while.
But they have this huge line.
Yeah, huge line queue.
Oh,
that'll
wow.
probably all be full opening weekend of our launch, but a little annoying when it's empty.
Now I do plan on riding the Battle for Metropolis at Magic Mountain on July 21st, and if it's anything like the one at Six Flags Over Texas, it's gonna be amazing. As you wait in line, a short video explaining the plot of the ride plays, and an animatronic cyborg interacts with various characters that show up. The ride itself is a ton of fun, as I couldn't help but share with my Instagram followers.
Hey guys, I'm standing here in front of the Justice League ride, Battle for Metropolis at Six Flags over Texas. It's amazing. I can't wait for this ride to open at Six Flags Magic Mountain. There's an entire section where it's a giant screen in front of you and you start going upside down, all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. Definitely look forward to that opening.
So before we even left for our trip, we actually composed a list of all the rides we wanted to get on while we were at Six Flags over Texas. Those rides include the Battle for Metropolis, which I already covered, Mr. Freeze, which was actually broken down the last time we were at this park, and it was a ton of fun. We actually rode it both days we were at the park. It's called Reverse Blast now, which I don't think was the case back in 2014, and the whole ride is now backwards. It was pretty fun. It also has a really neat loading station. Next we rode Superman's Tower of Power. This is kind of a Drop of Doom meets Sylvester's Pounce and Bounce, but on steroids, with a launch start. We rode this last time and had a lot of fun, but of course back in 2014 we waited for over an hour. This time we practically walked on. Another repeat from 2014 was the new Texas Giant. I didn't even know what an RMC conversion was the first time I rode this coaster back in 2014, and I just thought it was a really cool hybrid and didn't give it much thought. It's pretty tame compared to rides like Twisted Colossus with the Iron Rattler, which I'll get to in an upcoming video, but the new Texas Giant is still pretty cool. We also rode Shockwave, which was made by the same company that built the Revolution, and it's about as exciting. We then went on El Asadero, which is the log flume ride. And at the end of the day, we rode the Joker, which is an SNS free-flying coaster similar at first glance to Green Lantern's First Flight. Though I have to say the Joker's design is far smoother, with the flips much less abrupt and violent than Green Lantern. Other rides you might be interested in include Runaway Mountain, which is a fully enclosed indoor roller coaster that takes place completely in the dark. I actually rode this ride back in 2014, and while it was fun, I didn't really want to wait in line for it again, but I think I do have some point of view footage from the front seat of that ride. Oh wow, yeah, this part was amazing. There's Batman, which is exactly like Batman at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and there's Titan, which is exactly like Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain, minus the underground tunnel part at the bottom of the drop, which means the whole thing's up another 10 feet or so is all. There's also Yosemite Sam's Gold River Adventure or something like that, which is basically a small world with Looney Tunes characters. And then of course there was a wide variety of baby rides and Pukinators. That night we had dinner and drinks with some friends at the Humperdinks right by the motel, and then we basically just called it a night. And I think I'll cut this video here as it's starting to get a little bit long, and there's still lots to cover, including the entire second day at Six Flags over Texas, so be sure to stay tuned for that video next week. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as I release new content every week, and until next time, keep being awesome. Just hold the power button down and it fires up ready to pair with your smartphone. It also just has a nice tone it plays instead of some hilarious sounding voice like another Bluetooth device I recently bought.
Power on. Ready to pair. Phone connected.
You don't have to put it in pair mode and wait for the lights to start blinking or any of that nonsense. It just works.